welcome to my podcast again, Breaking the Silence Together. I want to say I really appreciate everyone that continues to log on, whether it's now while we're live or just taking out from their busy schedule on a daily basis and really following us and listening at their time. I just want to say thank you. And today's conversation was brought up to me from one of my clients. I mean, I've seen this and heard of it in our intakes many of times. But one intake that I had, and this individual, I mean, she was over 18, but she's young. She's just starting her life. And it just really resonated, and it just really just stood with me. You know, it just really stayed, and I really, not that I couldn't move on because, you know, I intake and I deal with clients all day, every day for years. But sometimes some conversations kind of just stick with you. And situations just seem to really stay with you until you make sense of it, or you just bring it out and, you know, try to make sense of it in a more positive way. So today's topic is going to hit home with a lot of people. And like I said, it doesn't even have to be that they're dealing with any mental illness at this time or any addiction. I just believe that this topic is still going to resonate with a lot. And I'm hoping that that person is listening and gets something out of my podcast today, out of this talk, and it really helps them out to see things in a more positive way. So today's topic is Starved for Love. Healing the hunger that no one noticed. And when I brought that topic up, and I was speaking to somebody about it before I spoke about it today, they said, "What do you mean starved for love, Jeannie? What do you mean? Healing something that no one noticed?" And I said, well, a lot of people go around sometimes all their life with this emptiness in their, you know, within them, this emptiness that they never was able to fulfill. And she said, well, I get that part. I understand that part because I know sometimes I felt like that. I felt like I was all alone, or I was missing something that I just really couldn't never wrap my head around, but I just always, sometimes I would just feel really empty no matter what I did. And I said, yeah, but that's basically what I'm trying to say. You know, that emptiness that people carry around sometimes for years, you know, from childhood, and they continue it as they're adults, and they continue living like this. Most of the time it's some kind of emotion, you know, that was never really fulfilled as a child. And it just turns into this loneliness, you know. And sometimes some of us, you know, you could have been brought up with good parents that said, I love you every day to you. You know, always said they love you, was always there by your side. But for some reason, you still felt that emptiness. You still felt alone. You just never felt like you was nourished enough in that, with that emotion where you needed more. And you just couldn't really understand what was that more. So you continue living life like that. You know, you just learned how to function without having that emotion nourished. You know, without being healthy with that emotion. And unfortunately, sometimes when we carry this loneliness and this emptiness within us, life takes us in different journeys. And if this is something that's resonating with you now and you're starting to understand what I'm saying, or it's kind of taking you where you think it might be taking you, and you just want to learn more about it because you might know someone that's dealing with this, or you've seen this, and you feel as though this might be what someone is really lacking of because of their emotions or their actions, then this is for you. This podcast today, this talk is for you. I try to put as much information as I could that I put together from my own talking with this individual and talking with others, you know, within these little couple minutes that I am going to be live. But if anyone really needs more information on anything that I talk about today or any of my other podcasts, if you're listening, please reach out to me, because I know sometimes we can't all wrap our heads around or get the answers that we want within 30 or 45 minutes. So if that is you, please just reach out and get whatever other answers that you need, so that you can get where you need to get to in your journey. Reach out to us for that. With that being said, I just feel as though that a lot of us just start settling in life because we've been dealing with this emptiness for so long that it just starts becoming part of you. And you start living and functioning life on a daily basis, just feeling lonely, just feeling empty still inside, no matter how many friends you have around you, no matter how many partners you come into your life and try to give you love, no matter how busy you try to keep yourself, how much you try to stay in tune with everything that's going on, every invite you go, you try to stay motivated with everything, but at the end of the day, when you're alone, you still feel that emptiness. You still feel as though something is missing and you can't wrap your head around it. You just know it's this emotion that you've been dealing with all your life. And you learned how to function with it, and you're carrying it around, and you're just letting yourself go with it, And a lot of us, because we grew up functioning like this, we might have been told that they love us on a daily basis. We might have been always in a big family person, where your family was always together, or maybe you always was around a lot of friends, but you just can't ever understand what exactly is going on with this emotion or this emptiness. And I get it, because it's real, because I've heard it so much. And every story that I hear when it comes to this loneliness and this emptiness within, the story is different. Very different. The only thing that is same with these stories and these outcomes that I've heard on behalf of this emotion and this feeling is that they feel lonely or they feel empty. But the pieces that are around, that they put together that are around this emotion or this feeling, they're all different, because they're all looking for something different. They were all missing something different. Sometimes even as an adult, they still can't figure it out, because this emotion and this loneliness has taken them through all different spirals in life, And a lot of time when we deal with this for a long time, loneliness and emptiness is a really, really harsh feeling. It's a really deep feeling. And it's a feeling that really messes with your head. And that feeling that you get in your head and in your thoughts just messes with you, with your body. Just physically just takes control of you. For some reason, the loneliness and the emptiness feeling, a lot of people can't cope with that. That's just so hard. Some of us can really push ourselves out of it, and we start doing something different, and we fulfill that feeling. And that feeling is healthy within us because we fulfill it in our different ways, in the way we feel as though that we need it to be fulfilled. But then we have these other individuals that have been dealing with this emptiness and this loneliness from childhood. And now they're adults. And they never really was able to really find the root of it. They just know that they had this feeling they couldn't get rid of. They always felt lonely. No matter how they were told, how many times they were told that someone loved them, that didn't really matter to them. They had this emptiness within them that just stood with them. And as they became adults, and even as teens, sometimes your actions and your the way you react to emotions and things that you do, sometimes it starts out as early as teens, 11, 12 years old. You see them reacting in a different way. That's where either it affects them mentally, they start spiraling down into a mental illness, or it affects them where they start numbing themselves with self-medication or other kinds of things that they can get addicted with, just to numb that feeling. And like I said, it has no age. It all depends on how long this individual can really carry it without it affecting them and then breaking down within, and then the reactions and their daily actions are seen. And this is so real. And, a lot of people might say, oh, well, as long as they're told someone loves them, that should be enough. Well, actually, in reality, it's not enough for a lot of people. Just because someone has a family, they live in a good life, they were brought up well, or as an adult, they have everything they can ask for in life. But even though you might have everything that I just mentioned, you still might be lacking in that one emotion, and that's being feel like you're fulfilled in life, like you're happy, you feel no longer empty, you feel no longer lonely in life. But sadly to say, sometimes that's just not how life is. No matter how good it might look that someone might have something in life, but deep down inside they might be breaking down. They might just be so lonely. And you're probably saying, well, how could they be lonely if they have everything that they want in life? Some of us, we can't control how our chemical imbalance in our brain acts. That's an illness. Our chemical imbalance sometimes has to be, evened out or elevated in different ways. And some of us, until we figure that out, we can't heal in a healthy way until we figure out whether it's medication that we need to be on for some kind of imbalance, or is it therapy that we need to go to just to talk to someone? Because some of us just talking and getting our feelings out helps us instead of holding it in. As to some people, talking too much makes them question themselves a lot. So it all varies. Everyone's different. And unfortunately, when some of us are carrying around this emptiness, like I said, or this loneliness, and it puts you into a depression or an anxiety, because sometimes it'll put you into an anxiety where you're overwhelmed all the time and you're just going fast, and you're trying to do more than you have to, because you're looking for this fulfillment. You're looking for this void that you're missing within. You're trying to find it in others, or you're trying to find it by doing other things. So you're overwhelming yourself with so much because you're trying to find what you've been missing all your life. And sometimes just doing so much and overwhelming ourselves just takes us down into a dark hole, because we still can't figure it out. We're still not finding, no matter how much we're doing every day, or how many people we're just surrounding ourselves with, or how many partners you bring into your life. You still can't find that person that's really making you feel loved or making you feel complete. So you start to get exhausted with yourself. You start to get mad at yourself because you're finding all these good people. You feel as though they're good, but they're still not what you want or what you've been missing in life. And it puts you into some kind of type of mental illness. And you start struggling on that because of this void, because of this emptiness, because of this loneliness. And then some of us, it'll take us down a spiral where we start self-medicating ourselves, or trying different kinds of drugs just to start feeling numb, so we can start numbing that feeling and not feeling that anymore, because we feel as though the further we fade ourselves away from reality, the less we're going to feel this numbness or this emptiness. But the reality is, no matter how much you try to fade away from it, you're going to always come back sooner or later to it. And unless you really take care of the root of it, and you get help, and you start healing from that pain, from that loneliness, from that emptiness, no matter what you do, you might be able to medicate yourself enough where you're getting, whatever kind of drugs you're using, you're fading yourself for a little bit, but as soon as you get off and you're no longer high, you're going to feel it again. And with mental illness, no matter what we do, unless we get the proper help that we need, we're just gonna start feeling it all over again. We can cover it for a little bit, but unless we're healed and healthy, it's gonna always come back. We gotta learn our coping skills to help ourselves on a daily basis to heal healthy. And I know that some people are probably saying, well, it's so easy for you to say that because you're not going through it or you never dealt with it. And what I can, say to you is, yeah, maybe I don't know the feeling exactly what you're feeling. I can say what I've felt in life. And we all felt in life once or at least once in life. And if no one has ever felt this, hey, I'm happy for you. But I feel as though that everyone in life at least one time felt either lonely or just something missing. And some of us are just lucky enough to really come back from that feeling really fast and realize what is missing in our life, and we just get that piece of that puzzle, put it together, and boom, we're good. But it's not like that for everyone. The ending of that story is not that easy for a lot of us. And a lot of us can't find that piece of that puzzle for years. And sometimes when we do have that piece of that puzzle in our hand, we just still can't believe that it's really what we want. So we doubt ourselves and we're back to square one and we're looking for it all over again. And if that's you, and I'm hoping that, my talk today is really reaching out for someone that really needed to hear it, because that's why I'm on this podcast every day. I'm showing up for you. I'm not showing up for no one else. I can care how many followers I get because of a podcast. I can care how many followers or listeners I get because of a podcast. My main reason that I'm on this podcast and I'm showing up daily is for you. It's for every individual that's struggling with a mental illness and every individual that's struggling for an addiction. That's who I'm showing up for on a daily basis, not no one else. And I'm definitely not showing up for anything for me, because like I said, it's not about me. It's about what I can do for the individual that needs help. So I really hope that the person, that's listening to my podcast, that's logging in, that's following me, is really someone that needs this help. Because, if I can't help you, then what am I doing every day on this podcast? What am I doing with my organization? This is really, really what I want to see at the end of the day. Getting results. Seeing healing in a healthy way for a lot of people. I wish I could say it could be for everyone, but like I said, reality is reality, and I'm always true. I'm not going to be able to help everyone, no matter how big my team is. But please, if you felt this pain and you've been feeling like this for a long time, or you just feel like this in and out of life sometimes, I just want you to say to yourself that, you are not alone with that feeling. Because I heard it so much in different ways. But we really, really have to come in tune with ourselves and really love ourselves. And I don't know how many times I can say that, or how loud I can say that to everybody. We have to learn how to love ourselves. And I understand that some people, and I get it, some people need more than that, Some people say, yeah, I do love myself, but I need more than that. That's not helping me on a daily basis, or, I just need more. I need to feel that someone else loves me, or I just need to be with someone, or, some people can't go on life without having a partner with them, whether it's a female or a guy. They just need someone on their end all the time. And I get it. Some of us are just dependent like that, and some of us are not dependent. And that's what I'm saying, the best way in life is not to be dependent on no one but yourself. And it's the healthiest way to go about life, to be honest with you, is to not depend on anyone but yourself. And I would say that starts out by saying you need to love yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. Show up for yourself. And like I always say, validate for yourself. You don't need anyone to fulfill the gap in your life. You don't need anyone to fill an emptiness in your life. We really don't. We really don't. All those myths, we brought that on ourselves. That we always need someone else to love us. Or we always need to have, someone by our side or underneath us. Those are just myths. Those are just myths. And a lot of us just kind of get stuck in it. Life is beautiful. And if you do have a family, you do have a partner, you don't have to have a big family, but you have someone next to you that loves you, hold on to that. But make sure that it's healthy. Because a lot of us, when we go through life with this emptiness and this just loneliness, we start settling for anything. We start settling for what I call crumbs. And no one deserves to live like that. No one. Don't go ahead and think that you deserve just anything that pops up in your life because you've been without it for so long. No. Don't do that to yourself. You deserve more. You deserve what you want in life. You deserve bigger. So So if you went on in life all life without really having someone that loves you, don't just settle for the first one that comes your way. Don't settle for anyone treating you any old type of way they treat you because you've been without it for so long and you feel as though at least I have someone that loves me. Nah. You can love yourself. Now, if you have someone that's really filled this gap, that's really fulfilled and nourished this feeling of loneliness and emptiness, but it's being nourished. And when I say nourished, it's because it's good. Because you can have all this, and it's not good for you, so it's not nourishment. You know, only nourishment is only healthy stuff that is good for you. So if you are having this fulfillment after being without it for so long, and this is a nourishment, your circle is a nourishment, you know, your partner's a nourishment, your family's a nourishment, then I say good. That's what you want. Keep that piece of the puzzle in your life that you've been looking for a long time and just figure it out so that you can continue to be healthy and live your life the way you want it, and you don't have any doubts and things start breaking apart or falling apart. Because sometimes it takes us as our, you know, as one to first put stuff in place for us. We got to put it in place for ourselves first, figure life out for ourselves before we bring others into the same life with us. If we don't have it figured out, how you gonna bring somebody into your life when you don't even have life figured out yet? And that's where a lot of people rush into when they don't have this nourishment or this fulfillment because they've been without it all their life, and all of a sudden they just found somebody or found something they can bring into their life and fill it up a little bit. They just don't be thinking, and things just start falling apart and going crazy all over again because it really wasn't what they thought it was going to be, but they rushed into it because they were looking for this void, they're looking for this fulfillment, and they're doing things just without thinking. So, you know, if it's anything that you take from my podcast today, from my talk today, because, you know, if you know me, you know I'm just going to talk to you about the honest. I'm just going to tell you how it is, the facts. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything because I don't want no one to be living off of false statements or off of something thinking that, you know, yeah, just if someone loves you, go ahead, go with it, or just, you know, settle for less. No, I'm going to tell you the truth. If you're doing it, stop doing it because you deserve better, you deserve bigger. I'm going to just tell you the truth. Just like I tell my clients, just like I tell my community. Why live life? Why live through your life just breathing? Because if you settling just for anything and you're doing things just to do it because you're looking for that piece of the puzzle that you've been missing all your life, so you're just doing things just to do it, you ain't living. You're just breathing. And who wants to just breathe through life? You gotta think that. Think about that. So tell yourself, you know, it's okay to be feeling this loneliness, and it's okay to be feeling this emptiness. You're human. We all go through it. It's human. And yes, we all want to be loved. We all want to feel like life is fulfilled. But we want it in a healthy way. We want it in a positive way. Why bring more damage into your life than what you feel as though you're going through now? Why settle for less? You can be alone and be better than that crumbs that you're bringing into your life. It's just facts. So if this is something that's really resonating with you, and I know some people don't like sometimes things that I say because I'm being honest and wrong. Some people just don't like the honesty. Some people you just can't tell them the truth because they get offended really fast. And if I am offending you, I apologize, but I'm just being honest, you know. If this is something that you're resonating with, I just ask you to please pause with yourself, you know, pause with life in general and realize that, yes, it is okay to feel empty at times. Yes, it's okay to feel lonely at times. We're human beings, you know, and we all have different needs in life. We can't compare our needs to someone else because we all different. We all different. Happiness to us, each person is different, you know. Love to each person is different. So we can't base our needs and our happiness and our void and our emptiness and our loneliness to anyone else. We have to figure out, what are we looking for? We have to figure out what has been missing all of our lives. Even when your parents were telling you as you were a child, love you, we this, we that. You always together as one as a family, but you still felt lonely. You still had this emptiness, and now as an adult you have it, and it's even worse. We have to just say to ourselves, and I want you to ask yourself, like, what is it really that I've been missing? Because sometimes we've been going through this for so long that we ourselves don't even understand it. We don't even really understand what's the void. What am I missing? What do I want? And you have to just take a pause and really ask yourself that question. And until you're able to answer that, no one's going to be able to help you with that. You have to really be able to answer yourself on what have you been missing. What have you been starving yourself from? What have you not been fed on? What have you not been nourished on? That you feel this emptiness and this loneliness in your life. Once you can come up with that answer, and it's an honest answer, and it's really something that you know for sure is the part of your root, then I want you to reach out for help. And talk to someone and grow every day, little by little, grow into that answer that you just came up with. Put yourself into that answer every day, little by little. If it's some type of love or support or guidance that you felt that you never had, even though you might have had someone telling you they love you all your life, but for some reason, the support or the safetyness or just the serenity itself has never been there for you. Like you've never felt what you've been looking for in love, or what you've been looking for in that type of support that you've been wanting all your life, or guidance. Once you find that answer, I want you to just get yourself some help, and every day do a little piece of your answer until you fulfill yourself completely on what you found out was a piece of that puzzle that you've been missing all your life. Because we only know that. You only know that. I can't tell you what I think is what's been missing all your life. There's no way. Because I'm not living within you. And that's the problem with a lot of us. We depend on others to tell us, oh yeah, this is right, this is wrong. Or, yeah, I think this is really what you need in life. No. Only us as individuals know what we want, what we're missing, what we need, what makes us happy, what doesn't make us happy. And we have to just talk to ourselves when we're in these different situations. So as for you, that you are dealing with this emptiness and this loneliness, you need to talk to yourself and be honest with yourself and what you want and what you've been missing and craving for all these years. And whatever it is that you've been craving for, I want you to go ahead and feed into it every day, little by little. Even if it's letting this certain person has been loving you for years and really trying to be there for you, but you haven't let them get close to you because you still feel as though they're not going to be able to fulfill that gap. Let them into your life little by little every day and see, maybe it is what you've been missing. Maybe it is what you've been craving. You're not going to know unless you give yourself a chance with that. So that's what I'm saying. Once you get the answer that you've been looking for, but you have to find that answer within yourself. No one's going to be able to give you that answer. You have to figure that answer out yourself. Once you figure that out, I want you to put that answer into your life little by little every day. And see where it takes you. And while you're doing this and you're fulfilling yourself in every day with the pieces that you've been missing, I want you to say to yourself, yes, I'm nourishing myself now. I no longer need this from anyone else. I'm doing this on myself. I'm nourishing myself because only I know what I need and what I've been missing. And I want you to feed that to yourself every day, little by little. But I want you to do it in a healthy way. I want you to also get help. Get a plan put together for yourself so that you can incorporate these plans also. And that's grabbing that piece of puzzle that you've been missing all these years and bringing it into your life little by little every day. I know, a lot of people can't do changes. And I get it and I understand it because, like I said, I deal with individuals on a daily basis. And I know everyone's not the same and everyone doesn't take to changes the same. And I know that some of us when we're looking for something for a long time and we hear it from someone else, how maybe we can turn stuff around, or different things that we can put together to get the answers that we want. Sometimes we even doubt that because we've been dealing with this so long. It's that ain't gonna help me. I've been like this all my life. That's not gonna help me. Finding a puzzle, figuring out what's wrong with me. If I knew you think I'd be like this, that's probably what a lot of people are saying right now. And I get it. But it's like I say to everyone, unless you try, you'll never know. And that's just life. Unless you try to help yourself and you try to incorporate these things every day, little by little, in your life, you're never going to know if that's what's been missing from your life all these years. You got to give yourself a chance. You can't give up on yourself. You've got to give yourself a chance. And you really have to try whatever it takes for yourself. And like I said, it's going to start out with you loving yourself. And when I say loving, it's not just you saying, yeah, I do love myself. No. It's loving yourself deeply, unconditionally, where you're going to really start taking care of yourself. And you're going to follow life the way you need to follow life to be healthy. You're going to do that for yourself. You're going to show up for yourself. You're going to do what it takes. That's loving yourself unconditionally. We all can say we love ourselves and then go ahead and hurt ourselves. Or really don't do what we need to do to get ourselves healthy. That's loving yourself, but it's not loving yourself unconditionally. And we need to love ourselves unconditionally. And that's really doing what we need to do to take care of ourselves, nourish ourselves, show up for ourselves, love ourselves, and get the help that we need if it's help that we need. You know, whether it's for a mental illness or addiction. If we need help, we need to get the help. With that being said, I just want to say, like I say all the time, if there's something that I'm not answering for you, if it's maybe more questions that I brought up with my talk today, reach out to me. Go on my website, www.you'renotalone.online. You can reach us. You can reach myself or any of my team members. We have live chats, and it's not monitored by a AI or a chat box. It's monitored by a real individual. We have our 800 number on there. We have an email that's monitored 24/7. Everything on my site is monitored 24/7. So you will get someone right away. And if they don't answer you right away, it's because maybe they're answering someone else. But you will be replied. That's not a question. You will be replied. All I do ask, and I say that to everyone, please leave us a message, whether it's a text, whether it's an email, whether it's a voicemail, whether it's my chat box. Let me know what's going on. How can we help you? What are you looking for? Because if you give me those direct answers, I'm going to be able to get you the right person to help you with whatever it is to meet you in your journey where you're at. Also, you know, if you're going on my site and you're looking for an ebook or a book or some type of download and you don't see it, because like I said, my team members go on there all the time and they're uploading new stuff, taking down old stuff, or they're adding stuff, just reach out to us and we'll get you what you need. We might already have it, we just haven't put it up yet, or we might already have it but just haven't put how big of a team I have together now. I'm never going to have enough. And I'm hoping to never, ever have to turn anyone down, which I never will. But in this situation, because the numbers are worldwide, the numbers are so big, and my tools and resources and my services are available worldwide. And when I say worldwide, I really do mean it. I mean, I've hit every place on the continent map. I don't think there's one place on the map that I have not hit yet. And if there is, let me know. But the numbers, and it's so large. It really is. It's so large. And I'm talking to people every day about these numbers. And we're all saying the same thing. You can look at it now and look at it within a couple seconds, the numbers are going to be totally different. The need is so big. And, if you want to volunteer, if your heart is in it, just reach out to me. Because it doesn't matter where in the world you are located, you're able to help me. You're able to help these individuals, because it's not about me. It's not about my organization. It's not about your organization. It's about being able to help these beautiful souls, getting this information out to them so they'll know that there's someone out there that really cares. There is a team out there that's supporting them. There is a team that's going to meet them no matter where they're at in their journey, and it's going to get them the help that they need so they can become healthy and live a healthy life like they've always been wanting to do for so long. Because no one wakes up wanting to have a mental illness. No one wakes up wanting to be addicted to anything. This is just part of life, things that's happened to them, things that they dealt with that's taking them down in this journey, and sometimes they just don't know how to get back out of it. And that's where we come in place, and hopefully be able to be the strength for these individuals, be the support that they need, the hand, the ears, or just the eyes, where they just want to feel that they're being seen on what's going on in their life. Because every second of the day, it breaks my heart, It really does, because I know every second of the day we're losing a beautiful soul to mental illness. Every second of the day we're losing a beautiful soul to some addiction. And we just feel like powerless. I just feel powerless at times because I just, I'm not going to be able to help everyone. I'm not going to be able to be in everyone's thoughts or everyone's background with information, letting them know that we're there for them. It's impossible. It is. It's just impossible. And that's where you come in place as a volunteer, as a professional. Just push our stuff out, push our information out. Do an event in your community in behalf of us. If you need us to send you some information or come out where you're at to do the event, would you let us know? We're just trying to push this information out as much as we can, as fast as we can. So hopefully we can help the next person and prevent them from taking their life, or help that next person from just wanting to do a harder and harder drug and going to a coma or having OD. That's all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do. And I can't do it without you. I can't do it without a team, period. Because I can only do what I can do as one. But I know that even myself, I'm making a change, and I will always make a change in this world, in this cause, because of this. I'll never give up on them. Just me, myself. I will never give up on them. I'm going to always stand by their side and do as much and whatever I can on my end. But I just feel as though as a bigger team than what I have now, my team, or even a bigger team worldwide, we're going to be able to put a dent in this. We're going to be able to help them and really get this where it needs to be. So, like now with this world, so much going on with the minorities. I'm a minority. I'm a Puerto Rican. Born and raised in an underserved community. And it's just so hard. We have these minorities that deserve to be here a lot more than we do. They really work their asses off. They really do so much for their families. To be here and be treated the way they are treated, but they're still here because they put their family first. And that's just so sad, because a lot of these minorities that are left behind without their loved ones, that are being taken away from their side, are being pushed into mental health. They're being falling into a spiral of depression, anxiety, loneliness, because someone just came and gripped up one of their loved ones. And now they're all alone in this world. Spiraling down to an addiction because they're trying to fade away, knowing that they're never going to see that loved one again. It was just ripped out of their body, ripped out from inside of them. They're no longer here. Or some of them are just spiraling into mental health and addiction because they're running away from this craziness that's happening in our world today with the minorities. Worrying about it, they're going to wake up and someone's going to be at their door knocking their door down. Is their child going to be left without them in a couple of seconds? That's reality, what we're going through right now in life. With this world that we call freedom, America. Puerto Rican, I was born and raised here. Puerto Rico part of the United States where we're supposed to be, not being treated like that. And just imagine these minorities that are not part of America and they're just every day running. They came to America thinking it was freedom land, but it's not. Now it's caught up to them. And every day they're just living on pin eggshells, wondering if their child is going to be left behind without them, or are they just going to be wrapped up out of wherever they're at right now and they never be able to see tomorrow again. So, it's hard. And my heart breaks every day for this because I know that because of what's going on right now with the minorities. And like I said, I'm a minority, I'm Puerto Rican. And what's going on with our culture right now, what's going on with this situation in our world is really destroying a lot of lives. And we're powerless, I wish I could go ahead and stand by every minority right now and say, I'm here to help you if you need my help, If you're spiraling in mental health and in illness right now because of everything that's going on, or you're running into an addiction because of everything that's going on, I'm here for you. But the truth is, a lot of them don't even know who I am. A lot of them don't even know nothing about my organization. And it's free. And I just wish that I could get this information out to them as fast as I really want to. Because I know that right now, the main thing that's really, really, the main individuals and beautiful souls out there that really, really need my services, my tools and my resources, and just a support, just a hand, just an ear right now, is the minorities that are being left behind. With not having no one to reach out to and really hoping to really have someone to be there for them. They're alone and they're scared. So if you know anyone that you can pull my information over to and just push this information over to them and let them know that whether they're a minority or not, I'm here for them. I will always be here for you to support you. My services can't be blocked from you. So you reach out to me if you need me. Get on my website, find somewhere where there's internet, and give us a call. Let us know what type of help you need. And we're going to be there and guide you through this. And we're going to support you with the support that you need. We're going to walk by you on this journey that I know right now you're feeling very alone, very scared. And before it takes you spiraling down to an addiction or a mental illness that you can't wrap yourself back up out of, find a way to reach us. Because we're going to be here for you. And with that being said, if anyone out there is listening to me right now, and if there's any way you can help an individual, please do it. Give them the support that they need. Fill in that loneliness, that scaredness right now that they're going through, and help them out. I'm going to end this with saying thank you to everyone that supports me and my organization on this cause that I've been doing, on these services that I provide. Thank you for every person that you've sent my way to get the help and the healing that they need with us, bringing them into our community, into our family, because that's what we are. We're just family. We all become one family. And I just want to say thank you for supporting me on social media, supporting me on my podcast, supporting me and giving me a shout out in my community, giving me a shout out on my platforms. I really do appreciate it. Appreciate everything you send my way. I appreciate you as a person. And I just want to say with my statement, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart, repeat my recording if you have to really listen to this. It's okay to not be okay. And I mean it. I had that written all over my stuff. If you haven't seen my shirts, in person or on my site, you'll see I have that written everywhere. I wear that on my chest every day. It's okay to not be okay. And what's not okay, and I don't care who you are, what's not okay is to feel as though you have to struggle in the dark alone. Carry any type of weight that's taking you down alone. Love you all, and until again, please take care of your loved ones, take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Bless you.